Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Star Flames and we're back with another video. In this video guys, we're gonna talk about critics believing that Kanye West showing up to court to support Sean Diddy Combs was him showing up to intimidate witnesses. Let's talk about it now. This video is not to counteract anyone's opinion who have created a content centered around the same topic. This is just my personal view as it relates to the internet saying that Ye showing up at Diddy's trial was meant to intimidate witnesses. Let's talk about it because I see things differently, and as such, this is a reason for my personal view. Now, I have to say that I understand why critics would believe that Kanye West showing up at Diddy's trial was a form of intimidation, strategy to these witnesses, because we did see Kanye promoting domestic violence on social media, and he promoted it on numerous occasions. He basically says that a lot of men hit their women, and he has hit women as well in the past. So that is him promoting. That's not admitting, because when you're admitting to something that is wrong, you admit that you did it and you accept that what you did was wrong and it's not something that should happen. But he's not admitting it to say, I did it, and I've grown from it, and I've grown to realize that I wouldn't want anyone to be putting their hands on me, so it's not fair for me to be putting my hands on women. No, he's endorsing, or rather he was endorsing domestic abuse, saying he did it, Kendrick Lamar did it. So basically, because Kendrick is at the peak of his career, he targeted Kendrick Lamar, saying, because what he wanted to do at that point was to say, if Sean Diddy Combs is losing over here because he hit a woman, then Kendrick, who's winning over here, should not be winning. Kendrick should not be given his flowers for his work, because Kendrick is like Diddy as well, because Diddy has hit women, so too as Kanye, and so too has Kendrick Lamar. So as such, you can identify that in his moment when he's not the best version of himself, he lives on the flip side of life. Because if you look back at Kanye's intellectual conversations, because he has a lot of conversations on the internet that are so highly intellectual, and when we come across those clips, it warms our heart. And it kind of restores within us that Kanye was once a really decent human being. He was ahead of his time. He was a philosopher, a mentor to a lot of people. So, that's why a lot of people are not being harsh on him. They believe that if they support him in this moment, he's going to make a comeback. And that's the thing. While we want Kanye to make a comeback, Kanye has to want that for himself even more. And when we enable and facilitate and provide room for bad behavior, it's like a petri dish, and we allow parasites to breed in that petri dish. So if we facilitate the negatives that he's doing, we're only providing him with room for opportunity to grow with those negative, toxic behaviors. So, as I was saying, Kanye West, he has been promoting violence against women on social media, and anyone who's willing to be honest, can say that is what he's been doing, because promoting violence against women, that's not speaking truth. Saying that you did it, Diddy did it, Kendrick has done it, but here's Kendrick winning awards, that's not something that you promote. Also, as it relates to Kendrick and his personal life, there isn't much out there, and I can't remember hearing or seeing Kendrick in such light. I haven't heard of, I haven't seen or, heard anyone detailing Kendrick Lamar having such behavior to his wife. Now, I'm not going to dismiss that. It doesn't happen within their household, because I'm not living with Kendrick and his fiance. However, not only did we see Kanye promoting domestic abuse and violence against women, he also made a post that was highly dangerous to women's health and survival. And that is when he said a lot of women fantasize about getting awarded. While debates and discussions can often be, let's say while these things, can be true, it is also important that such discussions are held in healthy spaces and not being used as a phrase or as a comment that you just leave on social media. Because while Benny may say, but when he said that, he's speaking truth. At the same time, what is that truth based off of? Is it based off of these women have been abused as a child, and as such, because they were fractured as kids, they grow up with a psychological trauma of thinking about these things being okay? Because in case you don't know, women who have such fantasies, they have deep psychological wounds and traumas. They're not organic. It's something that was basically groomed into them, and those type of grooming normally starts at a very young age. It could be, how they were cultured and their experiences, coupled with also mental health disorders. So we have to really be careful of the things that we support on social media and the things that we endorse, because while he's saying it, and you may, jump the gun to say it's true, where is it coming from and what makes it truthful in your eyes? So the point is, when people saw Kanye West showing up to Diddy's trial and say that he was there to intimidate women, victims, while I understand where that might be coming from, I don't think it is true. I don't think that Kanye West showed up to intimidate any victims, because while Kanye is a cyber bully when he's unwell, because that's the only time he's really a cyber bully, and I know that Kanye West supporters, they have, that's the ones in the back, not all of them. I know that a lot of them has grown some disdain towards me because I've been speaking the truth, and they're looking for someone to enable Kanye West's bad behavior in his wrongs. And what they do is they allow Kanye to groom them. Can you imagine being psychologically groomed through social media by a man that's unwell? And when those people have been manipulated, they are so confident in their point of view, like, If Kanye is having a meltdown because he's refusing to get the mental help that he needs, they'll say Kim did it. If Kanye West shows up to court to support Diddy, they'll say Kim did it. If Kanye is on nitrous oxide, they'll say Kim did it. If Kanye West is going, aggressive and violent via social media and has lost his deals and sponsorship, they'll say Kim did it, irrespective of the fact that this is all Kanye's actions. The Kanye West supporters in the back, they tend to point fingers at Kim Kardashian for everything that Kanye West does, because Kanye West should always be free of guilt and free of blame, no matter how violent his words are. So I've just highlighted that to say, the Kanye West fans, some of them choose to stay in the back and enable these bad behaviors, and they just refuse to see that it is dangerous not only to himself but to society in general. So my point with all of that is saying, while Kanye's words on social media are violent, aggressive, extremely distasteful, and I'm talking about what he has done at present, because in the past, he has said things, as I've said, that is, riveting and factual, right? But it's not the factual things that are affecting him at this point, and it's not the factual things that are, being a bother to a lot of people. It's not the factual things that has people putting him under a microscope. It's the dangerous things that he has shared. So I get it that with his post and meltdown, people would think that because he's on social media being a bully, when he showed up to that Sean Diddy Combs trial, he showed up with the intention of bullying and intimidating witnesses. But we have to understand and know when to draw the line, because while Kanye West is a cyber bully when he's unwell, in general, he's not the individual who really goes out there and bully and intimidate people. He's just a cyber bully. When it comes to being a person that's always been caught up in some verbal altercation, like directly one-on-one, we haven't seen that outside of him and the paparazzis. And when it comes to the paparazzis, I believe that we can all understand what is going on there. And he's not the only one who has had a public spot with paparazzis. The paparazzis can be rude and extremely invasive, and that can cause anyone to get really upset on a high emotional level or low emotional level. We've seen Giselle Bundchen having a meltdown because she was being chased by the paparazzis. And because she was being chased and she was trying to get away, she got pulled over by the police. She was, telling the police what is going on, looking for some, comfort. And at that point, she was in the early stages of her pregnancy. So that she was, emotional. And the police was like, oh, that's your job. I can't do anything about it. So I'm just saying that paparazzis, they do cause a lot of triggers, highs and lows. So we can say that if we're being honest, the only thing that we've seen Kanye West getting heated about in person are the paparazzis following him. But when it comes to showing up physically and to think that he's there showing his presence because it is within his intention to intimidate people so as to make them, scared and afraid of not telling their story, it's not within his nature to use physical presence as a form of violence or intimidation. So far, I haven't seen that coming out in him, whether he's well or unwell. His physical presence, it is one that people often fears whenever he's unwell. And I think that is understandable because oftentimes when we hear about an individual having bipolar disorder, they can also be physically violent. And people just want to ensure that, they're taking care of themselves. And a lot of people, even though they don't support the things that he has done and said, they wouldn't want to see him in that type of behavior nor getting in trouble because of that kind of behavior. But I'm just saying, Kanye West cannot even intimidate a fly. He's just all bark and no bite. That is who Kanye West is. And this is the reason why so many people, like the tabloids, they've picked on him over the years, and many of them have promoted false stories about him and choose to do so repeatedly because he's naturally not a reactive person. Even in times when he's unwell, if you notice it, he's not necessarily reactive. Yes, we did see him reacting to Dave Portnoy, going off on him. No, it's not Dave Portnoy. It's Michael Rappaport that he went off on. And I think that with Michael Rappaport, that was his clapback to Michael Rappaport was long overdue because Michael Rappaport has been doing way too much, calling him names, speaking about his mom in tones that are just completely unacceptable. So I'm just saying that Ye did not show up to intimidate anyone, in my opinion. I believe that he was there because he heard indirect mentions of him and his wife, and them getting involved in freak off in Vegas, and it pulled him there. And also, I believe that he wanted to garner media attention to himself. So I don't think that he was there to bully or intimidate any witnesses. But at the same time, I can understand why it appears to be that way to a lot of people. But that's just my 2 cents on the matter when it comes to him in person being violently aggressive in that sense. He's not that kind of person to bully or intimidate the general public. There might be, discussions of him being rude and aggressive to his staff, but at the same time to use bullying and intimidation strategies, he really doesn't have a history of such behavior. But that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Let me know what's your guys' take while you're at it. Do all you need to do on this video to support your girl. Peace.